Okay, thank you, everyone. We will go ahead and get started. So hello, my name is Mimi Mudd, and I want to welcome you all to the first webinar of our summer 2024 family webinar series. Tonight, I'm joined by my colleagues, Will Andrews, who's the Executive Director of Residential Life, and Andrew Watling, who's the Director for Dining Services. We're excited that you've chosen to join us tonight for our conversation about housing and dining. Some information before we get started. First, we want to make sure you know how to submit questions during this evening's webinar. You'll notice that we've given you that ability through Zoom's Q&A feature. So our staff within Student Transitions and Family Programs is going to help field your questions. So feel free to submit them throughout the webinar using that Q&A feature. And to make sure you all know how to use that feature, please share the city from which you all are watching us right now. And then we will name a few of them on air in just a little bit. Second, in the chat feature, we'll be sharing links, email addresses, contact information, etc., throughout the duration of the webinar. So make sure that you're checking that out. And then third, this webinar is being recorded live. Next week, it will be uploaded to the families.wusl.edu website. In a moment, we'll hear from our panelists from Residential Life and Dining Services. If something our panelists say sparks a question, don't forget to send it in via the Q&A feature. After the presentation, we'll move into the Q&A portion of the evening. So before passing it along to our panelists, I want to go ahead and share some of the places from which people are joining us tonight. We have families tuning in from Atlanta, Georgia, and Connecticut. So now, since I know you all want to hear more about housing and dining, I will go ahead and turn it over to Will first to talk about housing.
Hello, everyone. All right, so I'm here to talk about housing. Next slide. All right, so many of you have already, if not, have submitted a housing application. You can log into our housing portal via WashU Pathway after you create your WUSL key. Again, the application needs to be completed by May the 15th. I want to encourage you, for any students needing any type of accommodations, to apply through disability resources. And then other parts of our application, you'll learn about what our gender inclusive housing looks like. There is an option for you to opt in or opt out. Once all the applications are completed in the month of May, we start the process of matching and pairing students up. We will release your housing information to you the early July via the housing portal. And then again, from there, any students who wants a room change, we just want to remind students that once we release the housing applications, we're not able to make any changes at that time, and you'll have the opportunity to request a room change starting the second week after classes start. So in the applications, you all are going to have 5 options to choose from. Again, they're here displayed on your screen. The traditional singles, doubles, modern singles, modern doubles, modern triples. Majority of the freshmen, incoming students' room options will be in doubles, either a modern double or a traditional double. We have a limited number of singles available for incoming first-year students. We also will be offering transfer housing. And then if students would like, you can request a roommate in the housing portal. But what I'd like to just tell you, students, is more than half the students go through our housing process where we match you up. So don't feel the pressure of having to find a roommate. The questionnaire that you fill out online, our team does a really good job of matching you up. So again, for those that want to pick, you have the option too. You're able to pick one roommate, and then everyone else, we will pair you up based off of how you answer our questionnaire. I also encourage you to visit our website for our housing virtual tours. Kind of gives you a glimpse of what the residential communities look like, showing you the bathrooms, the rooms, some common spaces, um, and then just different spots on campus. So if you do want to pick a roommate, the best way to search is in the housing portal. I really don't recommend other social media. On the portal, you'll be able to see how students answered the questions, and then there's an open field of where they filled out information they want to share with others. If you do want to live with someone, one member of your group needs to create a group in the housing portal and either share the password information or send another student, a request so that they can um, add themselves to your group. We won't pair students up unless they are paired up in the system. So it's really important to follow those steps. And again, majority of all of this information is on the housing application when you fill it out. So some things to bring. I'm going to encourage you to look at the new student website. All of the things as far as bedding, bed sizes, sheets, um, refrigerators, microwaves, any of those approved items are going to be listed on the website on this screen. And then as far as things not to bring or certain policies, I also encourage you to look at our website. Um, Again, things you can't bring are like hot plates or any of those items. But yeah, that's all I have for you today.
Great, thank you so much, Will. I'll go ahead and start with just a question for housing. So a question that I think many families are wondering, can you tell us a little bit more about like what's the biggest difference or maybe a few differences between modern residence halls and traditional residence halls?
Yes. So again, on the virtual website, we do have photos for you to be able to see. But the big difference is majority of the modern suites are doubled rooms shared with four students to one bathroom. There's no common space, but they do share a bathroom between each of the suites. And in our traditional areas, it's majority six people to one bathroom. But the big difference there is in the six-person suites. Um, in the six-person suites, there are two doubles, two singles, one bathroom, and one large common area with a balcony. So uh, again, probably the traditionals are buildings that were built probably in the 60s, but they're good buildings and yeah, gives you a lot more space, I believe.
Great, thank you, Will. Okay, I am now going to pass it over to Andrew to tell us a little bit more about dining.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. So just a little bit about dining services here at WashU. We are very proud of the food service that we offer on campus, and I think it's something that we really put a lot of effort into making sure that we can deliver a really exciting and interesting experience for you when you're here on campus. So a few important things to note. You will pick out your meal plan when you go and actually fill out your housing application. It's part of that same process. As incoming students, you have a choice of three different plans: a silver, a gold, and a platinum. And what's important to know about the meal plans here at WashU is that they are a little bit different than what you see at a lot of other universities. Our plans are all declining balance points. And so as you go around our campus dining centers, any of our locations, everything has a price point. You pay for it with your meal plan and it just deducts those points as you go. This does allow you a lot of flexibility, and that's why we think it's such a great option, because it allows you to eat and pay for exactly what you want, when you want, and where you want. There's no restrictions on where you can go or when you get to go and use any of the dining options on campus, but it does also mean that you have some responsibility to budget. So we do have a lot of resources for you on our website. We have information about how your meal plans should last you throughout the semester. We also have a lot of other resources to help you budget. We have classes that we teach in other sessions. We also have 5 registered dietitians on our team who, in addition to helping work with you about your nutrition, health, or dining needs, are also able to help work with you on how you can best budget your plan and how to make sure that dining services here at WashU works for you. And on that subject, I think it's really important to highlight, we really want to make sure that students who feel like they need some extra help, especially if you have allergy concerns or any other kind of health or dietary needs, that you connect with our dietitian team as early as possible. Their contact information is on the dining website. I believe the link was just shared with everybody, but reach out to them. We always encourage you to reach out before you get to campus. That way they can talk to you, understand your needs, help direct you. And that way, when you show up to campus and move in and there's a lot going on, you've already talked to us, we already know you, and we've already taken care of how to make sure you can eat while you're here on campus. So we do have a lot of options. I know that dietary concerns are always something that are very important for people. We have our Simply Made stations all over campus, which are free of all the top 9 food allergens. Everywhere on campus, we label the allergens that are present in our food. You can also see those on our website as well. So if you want to plan your day ahead of time, you can see what is available in different locations. And then we also have a Simply Made by You program for students who have extra needs that you can order ahead and have meals custom made for you. So there's a lot of different options there to help. So I also want to highlight, as part of our campus dining program, what's part of that I'm really excited about is our partnership with local minority and women-owned restaurants in the St. Louis area. We have 9 different restaurant owners who have locations on the WashU campus as part of our program. And through doing that, we provide an incredibly diverse range of food options, but we're also directly allowing you and your dining dollars to support the St. Louis community in a really effective and impactful way. And our students who are here on campus now love these options. If you ask any of them, they'll tell you about the boba tea from Corner 17 or all of the different options that they like to have. And so we're really excited for you to get here so that you can discover the ones that you are the most excited about. So Mimi, I'll turn it back to you.
Great. Thank you, Andrew. Okay, so our first question for the dining realm is, how do you recommend students and their families determine the best meal plan for them?
Yeah. So the meal plans are going to be very dependent on really 2 things. How many meals do you expect to eat on campus? And also, what kinds of things do you like to eat? And so it's a really important conversation for students and parents to have before you come to campus, is what is your eating pattern going to look like? What do you expect to be able to do? And how much are you going to be going off of campus? Part of the reason that we think having really flexible meal plan options is so important is because there's a lot of great food near campus. There's a lot of great food in the St. Louis area. And we know that our students like to be able to go out and experience that. You're not going to eat every single meal every week with dining services on campus. And so the meal plan scale to allow you to do that and have some more flexibility. We do know that for about 75% of our first year students, the Platinum plan is the right plan for you to have. That doesn't mean that it'll fit for everybody. Students who, especially who live more locally or who know people who live off campus, do tend to eat off campus more often. Students who like more expensive things, we have sushi restaurants on campus, specialty coffee shops. If you know that that's something you like to do, if you like your Starbucks latte every afternoon, we have that available, but it's going to use more of your points and you need to make sure that you're prepared for that. So we always recommend that you really think hard about how you're going to use your meal plan. The Platinum plan can get you 3 meals a day, but we always like to emphasize that it's very dependent on your eating habits and what kinds of things you like to do. And also, do you like to snack and other things throughout the day? So it's very, very situationally dependent, but typically the Platinum plan is the right plan for most of our first year students. And know that if you buy too many points and you buy a larger plan in your fall semester, you can always get a smaller plan for the spring. So you're not stuck with the same meal plan 2 semesters in a row. So.
Great. Thank you both so much for that information. We'll go ahead and move into the question and answer portion of the evening. So a reminder to our attendees, please feel free to submit those questions through the Q&A feature. So I'll go ahead and start off going back to housing. So we had an attendee ask about the start date of the housing contract. According to them, it starts on August 23rd, but they noted first year move-in is August 16th or 17th. Can you speak to that, Will?
Yes, so freshmen do have a different start date. You can basically think of the first week you are all here for Mimi, correct me if I'm wrong. The first week it's Bare Beginnings, right? Yes.
Bare Beginnings is the overarching name. So yes, but specifically Fall Welcome.
Fall Welcome. So for Fall Welcome, that is kind of, we don't count those days. Those days, your contract will officially start. I believe they said on the 20th, correct? That's when the official contract starts, but freshmen due to welcome week come in before the start of the contract. So you can kind of think of those days as, yeah, don't count those days as part of your contract.
Yes, and Fall Welcome runs from the 17th through the next Saturday, the 24th.
That's
Great. Okay. Question for Andrew about dining. We had a question submitted about meal plans and whether they're able to be used at the South 40. They said student-run cafes. I'm assuming they might mean the step businesses. So can you speak to that?
Yeah, so the step businesses, so those student-run businesses that are along the South 40 are not part of the meal plan. They're not part of dining services. You can use Bear Bucks, and we highly recommend that students coming in have a Bear Bucks account set up. It's on your same ID card, and it's a great way for parents to provide money and know that it's going to be spent on campus. So pretty much all of our campus vendors, including the dining locations, take Bear Bucks as payment. And so those step businesses do participate in the Bear Bucks programs. They do not participate in meal points.
Thank you. And then we had a follow-up question to kind of about move-in. So one I can address, it says, do they start having housing starting August 16th? Yes. So it depends on when your student's move-in day is. So they'll either move in the 16th or the 17th. And the caveat to that is international first year students, and then athletes might have a different move-in date, which they will get directly from their coach. Is that correct, Will? Athletes get that directly from their coach. It depends on their sport.
That is correct. The coach will let them know. And then for the freshmen, if you're moving in on the official move-in days, they'll be able to select their move-in day with a time slot, either the Saturday, the Friday or the Saturday. Yes.
Yeah, Friday, August 16th or Saturday, August 17th. So yes, their housing will begin with their move-in date. Okay, and then Will, can you clarify what the housing portal is and how students can access it?
Yeah, so once you create your WooStyle key, you'll be able to log in through WebStack, and then from there select the housing portal, and then the housing portal will log you in so that you can select your housing application, and you can make changes on your application all the way up until May 15th. But parents who are on here, you don't have access. Your student is the one that only has access because it will require them to log in with their passwords. Yep.
Okay, and then Andrew, we did have a pre-submitted question asking generally about dining options for students with dietary restrictions, allergies, etc. I know you spoke a little bit about that in your introduction. Any additional information you want to add about that? And then we did have a specific question about halal options on campus.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of like, we talked about earlier, we do have a very robust dining program available for students who have food allergies. Even if it's something that you are used to dealing with and think you know how to handle and navigate, we always still recommend that you meet with one of our dietitians. It's very helpful for us to make sure that we can advocate for you and make sure that you know how to find your way and find the best options that are available for you. There's nothing more frustrating and heartbreaking than hearing from a student halfway through the semester that they didn't know something was available or they didn't know how to access something that could have made their experience a whole lot better. And then for students who observe other dietary styles, we do have a lot of halal options. The Village Dining Hall, which is opposite campus from the South 40, but still very accessible, is entirely halal friendly. So for students who are looking for that, that's one place that everything there is designed to be halal friendly. And then within the Bears Den, which is on the South 40, we do have one station that is always halal friendly as well. And we also have a kosher kitchen in the South 40. So we have a kosher station for those students, as well as doing kosher prepackaged food items, hot and cold, that get sent around campus and are available for students to purchase as well. So we have a robust program for students who are looking for different dietary needs. And as always, if you talk with us and connect with us, then it allows us to have an opportunity to advocate for you and make sure that what you're looking for is always available and that we can address that as well.
Great, thank you. Okay, well, we had a family member express that their student has found a roommate. They signed up to room together, but they also put a single room as their first choice. What does that mean for them?
So if when students make, unless there is a accommodation needed, their priority will be to pair them with the roommate that they selected. And more than likely, they will be placed in a double room to accommodate them with their roommate. So yes, if that answers your question, students who make a selection that go in and select a roommate by default will be placed in a double room. So I would encourage them to log back into the portal, select a double, be a modern double or a traditional double. They will be placed there.
Thank you. And then just kind of a quick follow-up to that, can you clarify roommate versus suite mate? I think the same.
Oh, yes. So it's all the same. Suite mate, suite mates you can't select, but you can select a roommate. So if you select a roommate, you are placed in a double. Your suite mates within a suite. So if you are in a traditional suite, you will have, let's say you're placed in a single, you will have 5 other suite mates in the suite. But if you're placed in the double, then you'll have your roommate, and then you'll have an additional 4 other suite mates. In the modern, you'll have 4 suite mates. So 2 suite mates conjoining rooms together. There you go.
Thank you. Okay, Andrew, we had a question about whether or not students are able to share or give meal points to one another.
We do have a process where students can transfer points one time a year to another student. So we do have a process for students to do that. We also have a process where students can transfer points to our food security fund, which puts them into a pool available for students who are generally in need. And so we have a couple of options there, but we do have a one time a year transfer where students can transfer points to another student to allow them to do that.
Great, thank you. Okay, back to you, Will, for a housing question. We had someone ask, what is the process of being a RA and what is the likelihood of being selected for that role? And I
Great.
guess we could maybe also describe what is an RA.
So an RA is a upperclassman student who has it's a leadership position to be able to mentor and support underclassmen in housing. We employ over 130-ish RAs. Housing, not employ, we select 130 RAs to serve in these leadership roles, and housing is included, and part of a meal plan is also included as far as for stepping up into that leadership role. And you have to be a junior or a senior at this time to be eligible to be an RA.
Thank you. And then another housing question, for someone asked a question specific to the summer first year academic program or first year summer academic program, FSAP. Who should they contact about that housing? Is that summer programs and conferences?
That is correct.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, Andrew. We had a question about what is the best way for students and their families to contact your office over the summer?
Yeah, the best option is to email us at diningservices@woostel.edu. And that way somebody from our team, we can direct it to the right person and get back to you. Like I said, we are always looking for students to reach out ahead of time. It's definitely easier for us to spend the time and talk with you. And I always encourage, once we make that initial contact, that we like to set up a phone call so that we can talk and really understand what you're looking for, what your concerns might be, and how we can really best address those. But the earlier we do that, the easier it is for us to make sure that when you get to campus, you're ready to go and you can start using your meal plan and utilizing all the options on campus from day one.
Great, thank you. Okay. Okay, just gonna follow up on the question about move-in. We just got one more about the move-in dates of August 16th and August 17th. So I want to address that before moving on. So the parent, family member, student asked, just to follow up on a previously asked question, will we be definitely able to choose Saturday, August 17th day as a move-in versus August 16th? I believe that depends on how quickly the student.
So yeah, so families, let me explain. To control traffic, only half the building on its time slot will be able to move in at any given time. So not everybody will have the opportunity to choose the first day. And that's because we want to make sure you all have a great experience moving in. We bring in over 75 movers to help move in the families and your students' belongings. And then to control traffic coming on campus, we do have to limit the numbers that can move in. So again, recognizing people are buying flights and trying to pick out days, but not everyone would be able to move in on the 16th. And that's just to make sure everyone has a comfortable experience through the move-in process. Students will have the opportunity, once we release the housing assignments, the following week, we will release the portal and open it up so that individuals can log into the portal and select. It's pretty much like a Ticketmaster, who first gets in, they just kind of go. So yes, I can't guarantee it. Again, if a building has 400 students in it, 200 will be able to select the Friday, and the other 200 will need to select the Saturday.
Great, thank you. And then in that vein of move-in, we did get a question about how long the move-in period is. Do they have time to go shopping for last minute items and then come back to the room?
So yes, families can go out shopping. It's just during the move-in window. So between 8 a.m. in the morning to about 4 o'clock, you will not be able to drive your vehicle back on the South 40. It's a one and done as far as having moving assistance. So if you have a 12 o'clock, well, not a 12 o'clock, an 11 o'clock time slot, once you check in and you make your way down to the South 40, the movers will be there. It's pretty quick. They're going to unload your car, get you up to your space, and then from there, there's no more assistance to provide. Your families, you can definitely go out, do more shopping, but we're not going to allow any more vehicles back on the South 40 until after 4 o'clock. And then after 4 o'clock, the garages will be open. Families can make additional runs. So I highly encourage you to do the shopping prior to arriving if you want assistance in moving those items up to the space.
And just in relation to that, I want to plug our conversation about move-in and fall welcome webinar that we'll be having on August 6th at 5:30. That's going to have a lot more information about what to expect during both of those things when moving in, and then also during that orientation that we call fall welcome, when all the students, all the first year students are here on campus. Okay, next dining question that we have. We've been asked for some clarity between meal points and bear bucks, and what can bear bucks be used for?
Yep. So meal points are loaded onto your card as part of essentially what you purchase when you buy your meal plan every semester. And so those are preloaded, and you can use those in any of the dining services locations around campus. So your main 3 large dining halls, and then all of our retail partners around campus. And when you come for move-in, you can also see it on our website. We have all the information to highlight where those are around campus. And we do a lot of activities to help you navigate around campus, find and explore new options so that you know what's available as part of that program. Bear bucks are a separate account that you can choose to load funds to, and you can load in just about any denomination. You can also set it up so that it gets billed to your student account, and those can be used in any of our dining centers as well. They can also be used to purchase just about anything else. So the University Bookstore, Bare Necessities, which is our nonprofit clothing and spiritware store. Those student businesses we talked about earlier. It can also be used for tickets to the play, printing services on campus, vending machines, and things like that. So bear bucks are very flexible. They don't expire at the end of the semester, so you can add some and just use them as you go. And like I said, it's a great way for families to provide a little bit of extra money for their students without, just having to give a credit card number or something like that. So bear bucks can be used on basically anything on campus. Meal points are just for dining services. And for most of your students, you're going to want to have both available to you.
Great, thank you. Okay, well, we had a question asking for you to speak to both we had a question about the cleaning services and then also security that is offered for the residential communities and campus of WashU. So can you speak to those 2 pieces?
Yes. So on all of the South 40 where freshmen are going to be living, we have a full-time dedicated housekeeping program that on our website, you can find the cleaning schedule once you find out what your assignment is. But your main bathrooms in your suites are cleaned by our housekeeping program, our housekeeping staff once a week. And then again, that's changing out of tissue paper, wiping down, cleaning the tubs, the showers, and all of those areas, vacuuming either a common area or an entry area of your suite. And then community kitchens and common rooms are, of course, also cleaned pretty regularly in the residence hall. So um, our team is the same people. So most of our students will know the housekeeper for their floor by name. Their information will be listed. So it's definitely a community where those individuals do have access to enter your space on the designated time. So that's why those dates are listed. And they typically happen after 9 o'clock, between 9 and 12. That's when the bathrooms are clean. And then as far as security, all residents will have a WashU ID that will allow them to enter any of the residential communities on the South 40. Um, there are security cameras at each of our doors. Your rooms are also card swiped, so to be able to enter. So there's probably about 3 different entry points before anyone is able to enter your physical space. Um, but on the South 40, we also have WU PD. And again, as far as just extra security and safety, we have full-time staff that live in many of our communities. Again, we have an RA on each of the floors. And then we also have faculty families that live also on the South 40 in many of our residential communities. So very safe community, but we do encourage students to carry their IDs because that's how they are able to get in and out of the building, and to monitor who they allow into the building. Like, people shouldn't tailgate in. If you don't know someone, you don't let them into the building. So yeah.
Definitely. Thank you. And then one more housing question. So we have a follow-up question about whether the rooms are cleaned as well, or is it just the common spaces?
It's just the common room and the bathroom. The rooms are not part of the housekeeping program. So sorry, you have to clean those spaces.
A good opportunity to do.
But I will tell you though, let's say you have an accident, something happens, you spill it. We do have a housekeeping request form, and if you need it clean, there is an additional charge for it. So let's say the carpet is extra dirty for some reason. I'll let your imagination run there. We will go in and steam clean the carpet, but there is a cost associated with that.
Great, thank you. And then we have received a few questions in relation to accommodations for like religious or medical needs. Where should students reach out to for those accommodations? And I can give specific examples because they might need to be different places. An accommodation for the move-in date being Friday versus Saturday for religious needs. We'll start there and then I can move to the second one.
Yes. So for that type of accommodation, I would recommend you email the residential life email. If it's for religious purposes, we'll do our best to accommodate. I cannot guarantee a specific time, but we will ensure a time that you have the ability to move in for religious purposes.
And then the second one was an accommodation for if they need a single room for like learning needs being supported by managing noise, distraction, etc. Where should someone submit that type of request?
Yeah. So we have a separate disability resource center. There is a link that students need to follow on disability resources, and you can upload any documentation that would be reviewed, and then that office would make the recommendation to residential life if a accommodation needs to be met. There are deadlines, so I encourage you to submit them prior to the 15th, or as soon as the 15th, because once we make housing assignments, we're not able to move students who need who submit an accommodation after our process, especially after housing assignments have been released, will go to a wait list, and we will prioritize trying to place you, but it's best if you submit that information now. Again, not all accommodations are approved. They are reviewed through a committee. Again, I highly encourage you to turn in that information sooner than later.
Great, thank you. Okay, Andrew, we had a follow-up question about meal points and bear bucks and whether they are able to be used off campus.
Meal points are not able to be used off campus. Bear bucks do have the ability to be used with Grubhub. So if you use Grubhub to order food from any local restaurants, you do have the ability to link your campus card and use your bear bucks for that. Currently, we don't have the option to use bear bucks other locations off campus, but you can use it with Grubhub, and that's something that I know our students are very fond of having access to, and especially once you go home, you can still use bear bucks with Grubhub, so it's always good.
Great. And then can you provide a snapshot of just kind of overall, what are the types of food available on campus?
Yeah, we have just about anything you could want. We have typical traditional American cheeseburgers, French fries, pizza, pasta. We do a lot of made to order options. We really pride ourselves on having customizable options. So stir fries, salads, Mexican, everything you could want, we have at some point somewhere on our campus. Our local retail partners that we have a Filipino barbecue restaurant. We have a Chinese restaurant that specializes in boba tea. We have a Honduran coffee shop who does empanadas. We have a local St. Louis area barbecue restaurant doing all of the great barbecue options that you could want. We have a salad and panini shop, and just to name a few. So we have a lot of different options. I've been eating probably about 2 meals a day every day on campus for about 5 years, and I have yet to get tired of it. So I know Will does as well. So
Yes.
Great, thank you. Okay, well, back to you. Okay, so can you remind us where students and families can find a list of what is provided in the different rooms?
Yes, on the it's actually on your website is listed. Can you add that to the chat? We have a whole list of information of suggested items to bring and things that you're not allowed to bring. One thing I encourage is parents bring a flashlight. It's always good to have one just in case a power outage or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, you want to make sure if you want, you can bring a small television. Though I find most students don't bring televisions anymore because of computers and being able to stream um, Netflix and Hulu and those kind of things. So those aren't always necessarily what students are bringing these days. Um, yeah.
Great, and that answered
Laundry baskets, or remember laundry is included. So usually that's one of the first things I think people forget is the a laundry basket or bag so that they can carry down to the laundry room to do their laundry. One thing I think little pods, not saying that students don't know how to pour detergent, but I think most students are better at dropping the little pods. Someone always at some point in the school year puts way too much detergent into the washing machine. So parents, if you're up there, if you're going to buy it, I think the little pods are probably the best choice. So practice doing laundry before coming.
Great, and that answered my follow-up question, which was where can they find a list of things to purchase, bring, etc. So great. Okay, and then another question kind of related to housing. So how do students receive mail?
Yes. So we release your housing assignments, we'll also release what your mailing address will be and how you're able to send mail to campus. Um, we have electronic boxes, so technically you can receive mail 24/7. What you'll do, especially if you have a package from Amazon or any of these other shipping companies, but our mailroom will send you a link. You'll get a QR code sent in your email with your smartphone device. You'll be able to go up to the box, scan it, and then the door will open to where your package is at. For letter mail, students actually still receive letter mail. So to receive letter mail, you'll just go up to the counter, and the counter, it will be in order based off of the number for your mail code. So yes, that's how you receive mail. But yes, we receive quite a bit of mail, and you're able to send your items prior to you arriving if you also want to take advantage of that.
Great, thank you. Okay, and then question for you, Andrew. Are dining halls open during breaks? And where can people find their open hours?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. We always have dining locations open throughout all the breaks. Anytime that students are on campus needing food, we have something open, which is 365 days a year. So we are always open in some way. We do obviously reduce our hours and our offerings somewhat as students leave for was it Thanksgiving, winter break, spring break, whatever it may be. We post those hours in advance of those break times on our website. Social media as well is always a great place to be able to find all of that information. I also always make sure that I tell students to make sure you look at the signage in the dining halls. We talk to students, they consistently tell us that I get too much stuff on my phone, but if I see a big poster of it in the dining hall, that's when I'm going to notice it. So we do make sure we post everything there for students to see as well. So hours are always on our website, so you can look and see what the normal hours of operation are, and then any break hours also get posted there as they're available.
Great, thank you. And then very much the same question being sent over to you, Will. Are residential communities and halls open during breaks? Is there ever a time where students would have to leave the res hall?
During your housing contract states when our halls, so we don't, once you move in August, the halls do not close until the end of the academic year, based in the what's listed in the housing contract. For winter break, we do have certain breaks where we do require students to register with us. And again, there's no cost to it, but to be able to keep access to your space, and again, to, help provide dining services with accurate numbers so that we know how many food options need to be open. Students would need to register for Thanksgiving, the holiday break, over winter, and then typically over spring break are those days we typically ask students to register. So yes, you can stay, but you have to register so that you have access to your residential building.
Great, thank you. Okay, our next dining question. Andrew, is there a way for students to see a list of ingredients and nutritional information online?
Yep, if you go online, you go to the menu section, you can see everything that's being served, including the ingredients, allergens, and some of the basic nutrition information that we have available. It is a live list, and it'll look a few days ahead, but if you look throughout the summer, you won't see much on there, but as we reopen for the fall semester, you'll start to see more of that information there. And I always recommend, again, if you do have concerns, talk with our dietitians. They're also here again to help you. And so we want to make sure if you have a specific need or something that you are looking for, they can help make sure that you know where to find that information, how to best access it, and make sure that that information is always ready and available for you.
Great, thank you. Okay, well, we had a pre-submitted question asking for some more clarity around what the priority housing date means. So just in case that person still has that question, can you tell us more about the priority housing date and what does that mean? Are housing assignments first come, first serve?
So students students are required to submit their housing application by May 15th. For late admitted students or for any reason, we'll still accept applications, but students who submit the application by the 15th, those are the ones the housing assignments team will work on to ensure that they are placed in housing. So the 15th is the important date to submit. But again, if applications come in later, we'll still process them, but you can't make changes. So students who started the application now can make changes to their application all the way up until the 15th. And then students who submit after the 15th, once you submit, it's one and done. You can't go back in and make changes to it because the team will be in the process of trying to start placing students so that we can release the assignments the first week of July.
Thank you. Okay, Andrew, we had a question. Hypothetically, if a student is exceeding their meal plan, are they able to use cash or card for meals on campus?
Yep, we take, in addition to taking Bear Bucks, which is the suggested way for students who spend more than their meal plan. Bear Bucks is what we suggest. We do also take credit cards in all of our locations. We do not take cash anywhere on campus. So just an important note, but we do take credit and debit cards. I do also want to note that our meal plans are designed for you to choose the one that's the right size. And we typically do see and expect that our students, the last kind of week of the semester, are spending down those plans and typically using Bear Bucks in a lot of cases. And we want to make sure that you're not buying a meal plan that is larger than what you need. And so it is fairly common for students the last few days of each semester to run low or run out of their meal points, and Bear Bucks is a great way for you to have just a little extra loaded on there for you to use. It's a little bit more flexible. It doesn't expire, so you don't have to plan it out to the exact right amount. So, but we do take credit cards everywhere. We take Bear Bucks, but again, we do not take cash on campus.
Great, thank you. Okay, well, and then question for you that I already asked Andrew, what is the best way for students and their families to contact your office over the summer?
Yes, I would recommend email is always the best. We do have our phones, but typically I would recommend email at reslife@woostel.edu. That's the best way.
And we did also just get a question submitted that I think I can answer, but you definitely jump in, Will. So we got a question about when can people start sending packages to campus, and mail services cannot accept packages earlier than 14 days before move-in. Is that correct, Will? So like things should not be sent super early.
That is correct.
And just a plug for student transitions and family programs, my office, we will be sending publications over the summer that also has more information about lots of these items as well. So we collect information from our campus partners, put them all together in one publication, and I know for a fact that that is in there as well. And also some information about shipping items, some options there as well.
That's
Okay, great. Well, we have one last question for each of you. So for this last question, just kind of a general one, we can go Andrew, then Will. So what is your one last piece of advice for students and their families that are getting prepared to be new to WashU for fall 2024?
Yeah, I think the biggest piece of advice I like to tell incoming students and parents, but is come and make sure you're ready to try new things. You know, be adventurous and try different foods specifically to dining, but try clubs and activities and meet people that you don't know and you've never interacted with before. The part of the great thing about coming to college and being a student is that you get exposed in a really low risk environment to a lot of new things. And we want to make sure that you take advantage of that and feel that when you leave here after 4 years, that you've really grown as a person and that you got to take advantage of everything that was here.
As far as for housing, I think when you're packing, pack and then unpack and remove a couple of items. You're going to receive so many t-shirts and swag that remember, we are a 4-season climate weather here in St. Louis. So when you arrive, it will be hot. Um, and then it will mellow out in the fall and then winter, then spring. So, definitely pack the essentials, but know that as the weather change and things happen, things will change. So, um, and then just be open to new experiences. I'm going to echo what Andrew says. You're going to meet new people. You're going to meet people from all over the world here, and the opportunity to, make new friends. So I really want students to take advantage of that and get out of their comfort zone and try a new club or organization or recreation sport while here.
Great. Thank you both so much, Andrew and Will, for the information you shared this evening, for answering all of the questions that we had. I'm confident the families and students that are going to be joining us here at WashU in the fall learned a lot of information from this presentation. Families, I hope you found this valuable. And as a reminder, this webinar was recorded and the recording will be shared at our families.wusl.edu website by the end of next week, if not sooner. And then stay tuned for our next live webinar, which is a conversation about student financial services on Tuesday, July 16th at the same time, 5:30 p.m. Central. And we also, in between now and then, are going to have a pre-recorded webinar, a conversation about health and well-being, which will be released in our June Family Ties. So that's an electronic newsletter that you all will be getting for the first time here in about a week. And the June one will be sent on June 3rd. And you all are able to register for the live webinars on families.wusl.edu as well. So thank you again, and I hope you all have a great rest of your night. All right, bye.